Hello, my loves. Emily here. I'm going to talk today about death and grief because I am so over the whitewashing of emotions around this sacred role that we have around tending our own grief and tending to souls before and after they die. Yeah. This is something that has been with me since I was 4 years old. I was sharing it with my good friend Jules recently on her podcast, and it really speaks to me. And recently I was at a ceremony honouring the life of a dear friend, and we don't have the language, we don't have the processes. And what happened was that I was given 2 hugs. I was given lots of hugs that day, but 2 hugs were silencing grief, silencing emotion, silencing at the time, the rage that I was feeling. And there's so many emotions that come up around death and grief that we get to honour them all. There's a huge difference between rage and anger and aggression. There's a huge difference between opening up the portals of sadness and allowing it to wash you away. If we don't open to those portals, then we leave our soul kind of in limbo, like knowing, has something happened? Has something not happened? You know, what is going on here? And I was speaking last night in the our final session of our Tending the Roots, which is a beautiful holding. And if you, without ceremony, without that deep purging and transformation of emotions, the soul doesn't know what is going on, right? And as a mother with 4 children, I know that my emotions around a situation and my responses to a situation support my children in understanding what's going on most of the time. So they may see something, for example, if we get lost or, you know, responding to a big thing, and they're going to be guided by my responses. And if the adults around the children are not acknowledging, not tending to their own grief, then we're not passing on these rituals to them for when they need them. And it's calling so deep into my heart to express. I just want to share a few of my experiences today around death and grief, and also share what I'm going to be doing on Tuesday evening with the tree allies, with the tree spirits. So when I was 4 years old, and this happens to many, many children. This is not, I'm not special in this at all. Many, many children, because their channels are open, they get an awareness when somebody's died. And they are often aware of things in a way that maybe, hopefully not in the future, but maybe at the time the adults around me weren't able to kind of feel and get hold of. And I was shut down for expressing my wisdom about this death and this soul's journey, because I felt it, I saw it, I knew what happened, I was told the story, and this tending of souls is something that we all get to do in a way. simply by opening ourselves up to the awareness that there is tending to do, that when a soul dies, we really want it to be soul whole. So at the moment I've got this crystal on my altar, and the work that I did following the death of my friend was that part of his soul hadn't fully transitioned, and it was a simple gathering of soul parts so that he could be whole. And there was ceremony in that. There was inviting elements of the soul that hadn't been present, and bringing them through in this sacred process, calling in the ancestral allies, calling in the angels to support the process. And we're just honouring him at the moment, the wholeness of his soul and that journey on the altar. The altar is a sacred place in our home, that we bring that reverence. I've also got this teddy bear, which is from my grandma, and this teddy bear is to bring the love of the maternal grandmother. So very often it's the maternal grandmother who meets the soul on the other side and does the tending. There's other situations where that may not be the case, but it's very important to honour the soul of the maternal grandmother, and how much wounding has been on this female line where we've missed out on these processes and honouring people's roles in this tending. I also have a photograph, I never met him, but of my partner's dad, and we're also journeying with him with a tree recently that we have planted in his honour, and supporting his soul, and also supporting our own family grief processes and understanding of our ancestral heritage. So where do the trees come into this? Well, I was given a very clear message from the hazel tree that she wanted to reinstate the role of the storyteller, telling the stories of the souls, telling the stories of what has happened for each person in a truly sacred way, and giving opportunity for the stories to be heard. And so I went through many journeys and ceremonies where I was channeling songs, words, around this, using fire to release these words so that they could be honoured. I was given very clear guidance from the willow tree, and this is actually in relation to my own grandmother, because in a womb healing ceremony I discovered, and I knew this when I was at her funeral, that there was not enough tears for her to transmute her soul. And we always say that, you know, souls travel to the other world on the river of tears, and it's our honouring, it's our outpouring, it's our gift, it's our saying yes, releasing the soul to go where it needs to go, and that's our part. So when there is no tears, when there's not the acknowledgement and knowing, then it has a soul's impact as well, you know. I was given a deep knowing from the oak tree that there was ceremony to be done around the masculine lineage, and similarly around the hazel tree, around the feminine lineage of families. So I know this sounds a lot, but it is so needed. We need this. We need this acknowledgement. We need this, these processes, these deep ancestral holdings, because we cannot live in this emotionally sterile environment anymore around death and grief. The Mother Earth, she weeps, you know, the goddess Bridget, she keens, La Llorona, the crying woman, she wails, And I feel so called to share with you the wisdom of the trees. We're going to do a journey as well around the allies that maybe come up for us particularly, and what support they may give. So when I talk about support and ceremony, it can be things like bringing items from the trees to an altar. It could be visiting certain trees. It could be seeking guidance and putting in ceremony around these things. But essentially we're returning, when we're in the process of returning bodies back to the earth, the trees are the guardians of the earth plane. They are the wisdom keepers. They hold the energy, and being able to really collaborate, honour, tend again, because this is not new, this is ancient, is where we get to go with this, to bring, you know. And there's never a time when I connect with a tree and there's no emotion. There's always that, either that deep crinkling of a smile, or kind of a real knowingness of there's pain here and we get to tend it. It's, yeah, sometimes we feel like our emotions are not welcome, they're not invited, they're embarrassing, and then we connect with the trees and we're like, okay, I understand. These emotions are so important for the cycle of life and death and grief and birth. And I had it with me, but maybe it's not here now. I had a beech nut as well, and I had such a beautiful and simple message from the beech nut, which was like, open yourself. We open with the emotion to release the next generation, to allow space for the newness to come. And yeah, there's so much wisdom in that. And if this calls you, we are journeying on Tuesday evening, online, Greenwich Mean Time. Oh no, sorry, British Summer Time. And yeah, it's there'll be more from me around this, and I just want to share that I've supported so many people around grief, around understanding the soul's process, around their ancestral healing, around their relationships with the deceased, and around their ceremony planning as well. And all of this gets to be woven in some ways. I've also produced a guide, Allies of Death and Grief. It's a PDF. If that calls you as well, I'll send you a link to that as well. I'll post both of these links in my links, depending on which platform this is. And yeah, I'd love to know your comments. I'd love to know your experiences. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be bringing this forward. So grateful. And I hope that was, yeah, I hope that was informative and thought-provoking as well. Lots of love, and I will see you soon.